All right, legends, let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. What's going on? Are we going to go to lower prices? Make sure to get your votes in here on the poll because it's looking very disturbing for the price of Bitcoin. Are we going to claim that higher low that is sitting at $112,000, guys? Let's take a look here at the people here in the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. And make sure to get your votes in here because we do have some people saying that the top is in. 20% of people are actually saying for the price action of August and September, forget about it. The top is in right now and we are going to much lower prices. Bear market, guys. Pretty interesting. People are getting quite bearish. 20% is a lot. To feel quite, you're feeling quite bearish then, right? Let's go right away through the rest of the poll. Okay, break down below 112k and we hold, right? So we actually drop down the last higher time frame swing low and we create some kind of a swing failure pattern, right? Either a quick swing failure pattern, liquidity grab, or it actually dips down, continues to the downside. We find support from this region. We got a lot of support, guys. This is a massive, large, multi-monthly consolidation that we had from May all the way till the beginning of July. And we actually hold on and then recover, right? That's the main idea here of the second vote. I think a lot of people do believe 37%. Very mixed poll, right? Very mixed sentiment. Some people say bear market, the lowest percentage. 37%, almost the same as the people that are saying 112k is not hit and we can soon, and we bounce soon, basically, right? So we are so close, right, from hitting that 112k higher low that we formed here the first week of August. I think it's a little bit of wishful thinking, right, that if we are going to hold this area without claiming that low, I think a lot of the people, especially retail, do expect much lower prices. Okay, we do have some data here that retail traders have suddenly switched 180 degrees, being from bullish to extreme bearish, guys. The data is there and it looks, you know, very interesting. We can see the liquidity. Of course, we had lots of long liquidations, okay, that have been swept, and we've also seen massive liquidity to the upside being built up again, okay, which is making it very, very interesting for that possible reversal. Let's stay real. The market has been downtrending. We formed an awful double top situation here. And of course, a lot of people may think this is an inverted Adam and Eve. It would be an Eve and Adam, actually. And we are going to break down here from this M pattern, right? This is the neckline at 112k. And it's going to be a pretty aggressive move to the downside. Well, we're going to be discussing the most important levels, okay? And then we'll go through some Elliott wave theory. We know we like Elliott wave theory, but we're going to talk about the levels, the liquidations, the levels of resistance and support, and try and structure here what are the different possible movements, okay? Let's go and say hello to the beautiful community here in the comment section. As you guys do smash up that like button on your way in, guys, much appreciated, okay? If you do destroy the like button, okay? So let's go right away and say hello to the beautiful community. Adam, how are you doing? We got new all-time highs without rate cuts and any aggressive hype. It does not look like a tragedy, okay? We already bouncing, says Pintopia. Jay Smith, how are you doing? Inra, how are you? Adam, Inra, Mike, what's going on, legends? Boom, bom dia, legends. Sashu, how are you doing? Alec, Andy is a real one, guys. Stick around for years. You'll thank yourself. Thank you very much for the kind words. Yes, we try and be quite professional with the analysis and try and understand what we're looking for some major trading opportunities. Now, I don't have very clear scenarios. We are downtrending, okay? So it is, without a doubt, a little bit of a, you know, small little bear market, right? A little bit of a bearish downtrend for the last week. We've been very, very bullish. I'm very much aware of, you know, a local top being in and going to much lower levels, guys. You know, this is the thing. I missed the short, okay? Successfully longed, took all of the profits, basically, guys, been transparent about the swing longs throughout the last few weeks and missed out. Okay, I took the profits with limit orders, which I was very happy about because I was asleep, right? We took all-time high and we came back down, and I had entries in this area. So, I mean, the profits would have, this was tens of thousands of dollars of profits that I would have missed if I didn't put limit orders at all-time high to take those profits, realizing that I'm not expecting a successful breakout from all-time high, right? Could we go to 125, 126? Yes, but was very much expecting a pullback based on this structure, right? This is not the kind of structure that you want, right, to get an explosive breakout. You are going to get some kind of a retracement, and if you get the highs here, well, we're looking at a double zigzag or an ABC flat possibility. It's just breaking out from this structure successfully from all-time high. We need a little bit of a breather, right? So we analyzed that last week and we got the rejection, and I missed the short position. I did not enter a short on the swing failure pattern, which would have been absolutely golden, right? Understanding that a rejection would very likely happen from all-time high. And I didn't short the market with these shallow pullbacks the last few days. They were very, very shallow, not the best scenario for me to get into a short. So I kind of missed this momentum to the downside. Okay, which doesn't really matter, right? Been very nice the last few weeks with insane profits. And I'm just remaining a little bit patient. I don't want to chase the price to the downside. I mean, any little bounces eventually can be a potential shorting opportunity in this heavy downtrend. We will be explaining the most bearish case scenario and the possible bullish one that is not looking too great, guys. Okay, now being bullish and expecting a bounce without hitting 112K, it is rare. If this is going to be some kind of an impulse to retrace so much, almost claiming the low, it is rare to get a bounce here, right? You're very, very likely going to take out that low. I'm very much aware of this situation. So trying to long here, right, thinking that, it's going to bounce. It might bounce. It's like you're putting yourself at risk, okay? You're better off following the local downtrend, and the bounces, you look for a short position and you are defensive and you take profit at the low, just being aware that you could get that reversal, right? I mean, this is no zone to get into swing short positions, regardless if you break down, okay? You can try and short the highs and maintain some of that entry open just in case you break down in a wave 3, which is a scenario that could happen. And I'm going to explain in this live stream, right? We have nothing on the chart, everything clear to start from zero and building up the different scenarios, okay? So let's go right away with the higher time frame. Higher time frame, looks interesting without a doubt. We're still leaning on that scenario of, is the high in from this major rally that we had from April? That is the main question. Nasty double top. Is this a fifth wave already? Because you can count from the low of the big correction here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We were very much aware of this situation happening. Maybe we do not get a 3-wave structure, right? And the 3-wave structure has happened here already in a double zigzag, because inside of a contracting diagonal, your waves are shorter in time than your previous waves, right? So when we do get that contracting diagonal, which is this one over here, right? The contracting diagonal idea, every single wave that comes after is shorter in time. It's shorter in time. It gets shorter in time. So, I was thinking that this could have been very short in time. However, we took the highs, which is the minimum target, to complete that 5th wave, right? And that's already happened. So there is the risk eventually of breaking down very aggressively. If this scenario were to come to fruition, where we have finished the impulsive move since the lows of April at $74,000. I mean, this has been a massive rally in about 3 months, guys, okay? Big rally, okay, of over 30, 35, even more than that. What is it, from 25? Yeah, about $45,000, right, of a pump in about 3-4 months. So it's been a massive rally. And we have the risk of, if this were to be the high, yes, we can be forming a leg down, a bounce here. We got a lot of support in this area at $107,000, $108,000. Okay, we do have the point of control of this range, which is sitting around about $107,000. We got the previous high of 2024, which is interesting. Previous year high, okay, is sitting at $108,000, 108.5. Previous month open, 107.1. Point of control, we got the golden pocket retracement from the last higher low, sorry. So there's a lot of confluence here using Fibonacci, point of control. Previous year high of 2024, the high of 2024 was 108.5K almost. So there's a lot going on here. This is without a doubt, after sweeping up, okay, the higher lows of this zone with the point of control, 107, 108, a very likely zone to hold, okay? Very, very likely. This is the zone where you are going to get you are going to form a range here. You're going to get a bounce, maybe claim the low again, double bottom, triple bottom. It's going to, this zone is very likely going to hold if we get down there. It's only $5,000 away. So, this could happen in the next 1 to 2 weeks if we do not bounce and hit certain prices. But this is a zone where we are going to form a range and it could bottom out, okay? 107K area, give or take 1,000 up, 1,000 down because of volatility. But this is a zone to definitely hold, okay? Big confluence area right over here. Now, the most bearish case scenario, looking at this ascending contracting diagonal where the fifth wave is in, what we could expect is the price to only form your wave A, which is moving down in an impulse, find support in this region, get a nice bounce, and eventually move back down to form your three-wave structure or your WXY sideways scenario, whatever it happens here. But looking for a corrective move, and the most common scenario would be a zigzag, right? Would be a three-wave structure, just like here, right? It's the most common correction, a zigzag. As you can see, we have a zigzag here, we have a zigzag here, and this would only be a possible larger zigzag scenario bouncing from this area at 107K. That's the, I see this the most bearish case scenario with the potential of hitting below 100K. It's the most bearish possibility, taking into consideration this structure. I cannot deny that this is a possibility, okay? What would be the not so bearish case scenario where we have it here on the pole? We do have it here. We actually dip below 112K, but we hold, right? 42%. This is the favorite of the scenario between August now and September. We break down below 112K, give or take a few $1,000s, but we hold and we reverse, right? This is the preferred scenario here from the community. And without a doubt, that is a possibility. Looking at the structure, looking at the waves, and, basically analyzing the different possibilities on how the price could behave throughout the next coming weeks. So if we were to break down, we have it here in a folder. Let me just double check. This is the scenario, right? Where you're looking for a flat. The main reason why this flat is possible is because you have three waves down and you have a double zigzag up, okay? You can count a double zigzag in a WXY in this movement because you can count 7 waves. 7 waves can be counted here, which is a zigzag up, correction, zigzag up, aggressive double zigzag to claim the highs, right? And then move to the downside. What is interesting about this scenario, the most common target for a C wave inside of a flat, okay, is the 1.618 extension from your A wave to your B wave. So, 1.618 extension is coming into that massive level of support, point of control of this consolidation, golden pocket, right? From the pivot low to the pivot high, It's just a very, very interesting area where you can be finding, you know, really, really good support here. 107, 106, right? Give or take. It's a zone to really find a nice bounce. So is it possible? Absolutely. We would have to be looking at the most bullish case scenario, which is continuing the uptrend, right? This right over here is a trap, right? Getting people very bearish. Bear market, guys. We're going much lower. And this would only be an extension of the correction from the impulse that happened in June and part of July. It would just be an extension of the correction. These flat scenarios after a major rally do happen, right? They do happen, right? You form a big range and you just take out the highs and you take out the lows. This is going to be a very interesting zone where I think a lot of people are going to be interested in buying or even longing, right? Very aggressively. This does happen, right? Let me turn that music down. Right? Just a random ABC flat, right? Where can we go on the higher time frame to show you, right? Literally something very, very similar, right? The start of the bull run from the low of 2022 in November, where you have your first little rally, then you got your third rally. And what you can see here is that you formed also a possible A, B, C flat, right? You claim the highs and then you claim the lows and then you bounce, right? It's kind of part of a liquidity game, right? The A, B, C flats is basically claim liquidity from the high, claim liquidity from the low, and off to the races to the upside, right? That's one scenario right over here that we have, right? A, B, C flat. When you take a look at the larger picture, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You have a 5-wave move to the upside since the lows in November, right? Anybody that doesn't like Elliott wave theory, well, you have it, you know, picture perfect here. A nice 5-wave move to the upside, having an expanding 5th wave, okay? What happens later after finishing the 5th wave right over here? What happens is you get a correction down, very choppy, very overlappy, very corrective. You take out the highs. Highs were taken. And then you take out the lows. ABC flat. Liquidity grab to the upside, liquidity grab to the downside, off to the races later on, right? So you have it right over here. You have it right over here. We need to give it a chance, guys. It is definitely a possibility. The count is very much acceptable when we do zoom in on the lower time frames and we do check out that price action. It's without a doubt a possibility. Sweep up highs and sweep up lows, right? Could we form a multiple 1-2 setup here? We got lots of support here from this range between June and July. People like that idea. I can see it on the poll. People like that idea. It's very much a scenario that could happen. I'm going to explain on the lower time frame what we need to be watching out based on this scenario, okay? Because when you have this momentum to the downside, okay, what we could really, really understand is that this could be building up a big wave to the downside. And then obviously it consolidates and finds support, which at the end, what you're looking at is a 5-wave move to the downside. You're literally looking for a 5-wave move to the downside. However, we're only building up that potential collapse, right? So I'm going to be explaining a little bit of the bullish case. This scenario looks very sexy. Don't get me wrong. It looks very, very good. And I'm extremely interested, guys. We are in bull run. And I'm more interested in swing longs eventually. Swing shorts to be taken down here. Yeah, I don't think so. I missed the short from the double top. And these pullbacks were very small. So I didn't successfully get into any big major swings, right? I'm interested in these big moves. And this was a big move to actually take advantage. You know, it's a simple double top Okay, simple double top swing failure pattern. One of the easiest kind of setups that you can get in with a stop loss above the high. It was about 1 a.m. my time. I was asleep, and it is what it is. I already woke up in the morning and the price was, you know, all the way down here at 117K. Let me know if anybody got into the short on the double top. Double top, stop loss at the high. You're rejecting here, right? Maybe you even shorted in the weekend. For me, it was a bit too shallow of a pullback to get into a short. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Anybody short on Bitcoin? BTC down to 110K. I'm all in. Andy just said the opposite of what? If retail thinks we are bearish, we will go up instead. Yeah, no, we do have the bullish case, which we are going to talk about. Okay, we are going to talk about it. I'm just going to explain that if the bearish case scenario does happen locally, we actually lose 112K, which we are so close here, guys. We're so close. It would be rare to find support and get an epic rally from this zone, okay? It doesn't usually happen like in a successful way if you retrace this much and this to be the low and take out the highs. It's just very, very rare to come down to, you know, almost taking out the low, the 0.88 Fibonacci, basically. So it's just something that you want to be aware of, right? I am very interested in swing longs, but I think what needs to be, what's most important in trading is being patient, guys. You know, I made $100,000 between July and August. Well, slightly more than that because I had other exchanges in longs, okay, other longs on exchanges, but around about $120,000 in this movement to the upside. Already believing that we are going to, you know, this is corrective. You know, we're not going to break down successfully from this range. We got low probability. I'm taking the risk here to hit all-time high. So, I mean, that was phenomenal. I don't want to give money back to the market, and I want to get into big trade positions, and that's those positions are the ones that I want to be talking about in the Legends community, okay? In the Legends Pro and in the Signals channel, of course, the premium channel on the Telegram, which you do have access, okay, with the link down below, okay? The first link is for the Telegram. Of course, you need to join an exchange on, you know, one of these exchanges, Bluffing or Weeks, and you can join so you know where my big positions are going to be. However, as explained, I'm aware of the short, so why not short here? You know, it would still be a movement of $4,000 or $5,000. It's not great. I realize the potential bullish case here, which is going to be explained now on the lower time frames. But let's continue with the bearish case, okay? Because I just want to let you know what I'm looking for if this is going to be the scenario that's playing out. Just like I explained from, you know, early 2023, right? We had many flats in the uptrend, and there's, you know, no major reason to believe that bear market is going to come. The structure is still bullish. It does seem like that we do have some more momentum that can be built based on the higher time frame. There's no alarms to be worried about just as of yet based on the chart analysis and the selling pressure, guys. It's just not there yet. Okay, so I'm still interested in longs. I'm very much aware that the price could go lower. This scenario right over here, if it is going to form that movement down and come to the strongest zone of support, which is around about $108,000, $106,000, right? Give or take a bit of volatility in this area is absolutely okay. Okay, it might be very volatile, double, triple bottom, right? Scenario, and then get the relief rally. The main reason why we could do this and get lots of choppiness and form a range where the price after a big move down is getting exhausted is because we could be building up, okay? We could be building up the big move with small little 1-2s. Let me just quickly zoom out and explain to you how these little 1-2s can develop, just like we saw back here in this massive range from 2024. You form a big corrective structure. We were very much aware. I actually longed the swing failure pattern here. Anybody that's a legit follower, we were analyzing this range as an extreme corrective move, and we are likely going to smash through all-time high at some point and we did take advantage of this rally. Okay, this was last year, which was very, very interesting price action, very, very complex WXY formed in this zone, zigzag. You got a running flat over here, you formed a triangle here later on, and then, you know, obviously building up the multiple 1-2s. Now, as you were building up the multiple 1-2s, you can realize, regardless if you take this as the low or this one, it doesn't really matter. Okay, you can see the next waves are getting smaller and smaller till you get the big movement, right? They're getting smaller and smaller till you get the big movement here. Then you create those small little movements, double, triple top scenario and reverse, right? So at the end of the day, you can see how you have the movement up, the big rally, and then you flatten out, right? It is, you know, you can see it, right? As I'm doing the drawing. So can this be the possibility here? Okay, where on the lower time frames, what we are building up here as your biggest wave is from the rejection of all-time high. This is a very, very shallow pullback, guys. I hate this shallow pullback. You know, it's just barely hitting the 236 Fibonacci. But I mean, it's not an invalidation. It's just rare to happen. So we just need we'll fit it in the chart. Just very, very shallow pullback. Okay. You prefer to hit, you know, 382, 50% at least, and then get the smack down. Okay. This was just very, very shallow. But it is what it is, right? This is why I didn't manage to short this movement. It doesn't really matter. I'm happy with the profits that I made right throughout the last few weeks on the rally to all-time high. Can't trade everything, guys. I mean, it would have been a short that I would have taken. Just a nice swing failure pattern. So what we're building up here, you know, it can be those multiple 1-2s, and we are ready to tank down. We're ready to tank, get a pretty large move down. It's very much possible, and this is the kind of zone where, you know, maybe a lot of people are going to get long. It might bounce, but, you know, I'm not here to say to trade. It might happen. I'm not here. It might do this, so I might, you know, I'm going to go long. So I really want to realize the different scenarios that could happen and wait for that exhaustion when we hit the massive, huge amount of support that we have from this range of June and July, right? So, and what usually happens when you form this kind of structure, right, is that you get that big breakdown, right? The big move of $4,000 or $5,000, and people just start, you know, freaking out. Bear market, guys. This is it, right? And when we zoom out, there's still very much big bullish possibilities, even despite we do break down. We got lots of support, you know. So eventually, with that scenario, we need to see the big move down happen. And this big move down, we don't need to be the first ones to long, guys. You don't need to be the first one to long, right? On the dip, trying to catch the falling knife. Unless we do form a swing failure pattern here, right? And we get an epic rally back above, you know, very strong impulse, right? And then we start correcting down, then I would say, yeah, maybe, well, this was it, right? Unless you want to sniper an SFP, once you get above it on the first wave, there are some risks to this, but eventually it could be the case. Just like you swept up the highs, quick SFP in a matter of a few hours, short. We might drop down a few hours here and start recovering throughout the next coming days with an epic rally. So you can manage risk and take this shot without a doubt. You know, they do happen. They are very common. Liquidity grab, massive rally of a few $1,000s. It's an option. It is an option. Manage risk. There's other ways to get in safely in the market, which is the ones that I'm currently explaining, right? So it's a bit of a risky bet, but it's very much a possibility if you want to catch like a very, very good entry, right? Try and catch the low or catch the high based on a swing failure pattern, right? So one scenario, you know, the danger of trying to put limit longs here, depending on how much leverage, if you're using 5x leverage and you got, you know, millions of dollars to piling into a long, well, you probably will be safe, right? And you will manage to, you know, no matter how low you go, if you got infinite money, right? Like some big crypto influencers out there, right, do have, where they can just add to the position And they have epic swing longs, right, from a long time ago. Yeah, that does happen when you have infinite money, right, to load in and, you know, just add and add, because Bitcoin will eventually bounce back up at some point, right? So, but we're not here for that, right? I know there's a lot of people that have maybe $5,000, maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe 200,000, right? A little bit more common inside of the, you know, most of the people, and not millions of dollars. The best scenario here is after a big move, you usually get, you know, a bounce and you revisit the lows. You usually form a range, right? You usually form a range after a big move, and you usually revisit the lows. Okay, and that's what we want to label as a potential wave 3, a big wave to the downside, right? And you usually do get exhausted, and you chop around and test the lows regardless if it's a wedge or whatever. It does usually happen after a big move, right? And the clearest example that I could give you was this one right over here, right? Where you have the big move, and then eventually after the big move, you get that choppiness, right, of a few $1,000s up and down, testing the highs, another, you know, again and again, and then you get the movement down. Once you get starting to get exhausted, the double triple tops are definitely worth a shot, because you can be very defensive. You know, you get into this double top, movement down, stop at break even. Okay, if you follow through, you're not in the trade. If you reject again, you get into the trade, stop loss at the high, right? But when you get that choppiness after a big move, you realize that a reversal is cooking, right? A reversal, big move, a reversal is cooking here, right? A reversal is definitely cooking. So that's what you want to look for here. If you get that breakdown, instead of being the first one to catch the falling knife, if it is going to happen, you're going to form a range. You are going to form a range. You're going to revisit the lows, and you'll be forming, you know, double, triple, quadruple bottoms just to match the multiple 1-2s that you have here, which technically you could have about 3 in this movement down. So you get a big movement down, 1, 2, 3, right? And you have 4 5s, 3, 4 5s into this zone, and you form that exhaustion, which is going to be your clear signal that this movement down is coming to an end, especially when you have that massive amount of support. So the double triple bottoms here will be, without a doubt, a great option, a great option, because that bounce of several $1,000s is almost guaranteed to happen. It's almost guaranteed that this kind of movement is going to happen. Regardless if this is going to be bullish and we continue to the upside, it's an option. I don't know. Or we form a corrective structure and then bang. And, you know, we end up forming a large ABC based on the contracting diagonal idea, right? Which is this one over here. You break down and you form an A, B, C. We'll be analyzing the bounce eventually, but I want to be inside of this bounce. I want to be inside of that bounce. And the best way to identify this is looking for the breakdown and exhaustion at this huge amount of support right over here. We even got the previous year high. So it's going to be a little bit patient. It probably will take a few days, but after a big move, you're looking for that exhaustion, because then you have the 5 wave move to the downside. You're looking for a bounce, and this will be a relatively easy trade to get into, guys. It will be a quite easy trade once we get that movement down and find proof of support, bounce, test the lows again, right? It's a matter of being patient, waiting to know how the price can form to then jump into the trade. And there's a few ways to get into this trade. Obviously, the double, triple bottoms are the safest ways, right? When you form a drop, you get a bounce, and you then test the low. That could be your first option. Of course, you want to be defensive. If you come and revisit the lows, you want to get stopped out at break even or at a very tiny loss. And then you're looking for the triple bottom, right? And you know, these are the moments that you are looking for a long stop loss at the low, get the bounce, be defensive, because one of these bounces is going to break off that descending channel formation here, right? And get a pretty decent rally. I want you guys to be in this rally, right? So yeah, I mean, it is really a patience game when we do think about the higher time frame. It is a scenario to be patient about, right? Let's go right away through the other scenarios. I mean, we are downtrending, guys. We need to talk about bearish case. I know we are wanting a reversal, but the market is, the bears are in control, guys. Okay, the bears are in control, and we cannot deny that. You know, I cannot say it's going to bounce very soon, guys. Make sure to get in your swing longs. You know, if we dip down here, just put some limit levels, right? That will be irresponsible from my side, and just explaining how the movements can develop, right? To then get ready of what could happen, right? Let's just imagine that the low is in, right? We got lots of votes here on the poll about this scenario where 112K is not hit and we bounce soon, right? We need to bounce in the next couple of days, right? If we're not going to take out the swing higher low here at 112K, it really needs to hold this zone where we at, right? So it's just not worth it, guys. The bears are in control, right? Unless you're getting into little scalp positions, you know, at the previous day, point of control and stuff like that, that's totally fine. We can scalp long and short, okay? Preferably in a downtrend on the bouncers. You want to find the resistance. Bears are in control. You know, there's just no doubt about it. Bears are pushing the price down. And, you know, for all of the bulls out there, myself, including myself, it's a moment to remain patient, right? Unless you're getting into a scalp short on the bounce, just take profit at the lows, right? And be defensive with your position. And that's about it, right? You know, if you break down successfully, happy days. You know, you can still maintain some of that short position if you got into one of these shallow bounces on the low highs. Preferably you look, you know, you follow the trend, right? And the local trend for the last week is down. There's nice little scalps, longs and shorts. You can, you know, obviously I'm looking for the bigger move, which I'm very much interested in, which I don't have clarity just as of yet. What is the bullish case scenario? What if this movement to the upside is an impulse, right? You can count a 1, 2, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your third wave, and then a 4 and a 5 here, right? What if this is an impulse? I mean, well, it doesn't look that great right now with this moving down so much to the start of the impulse, right? You never want a wave 2, right? In this case, or a wave B to really, you know, come as close to the start, okay, of the impulsive move to the upside. You just don't want it to come that close. So now comes the scenario of what we need to wait for is a break of downtrend, right? What levels need to be hit that we can confirm that we actually going to go higher later on, right? We need to shift the bearish trend into the bullish one. And eventually, what we can see here on this downtrend is the big move down, a corrective move in this box. This could be a WXY. You have a flat here, then a zigzag down, zigzag up. And then you have this big wave down, right? Which is eventually the impulse. You can see that small little movement down, the big move, and then that little movement to the downside, right? Chopping around. You can see it right there. And the explanation that I gave on the higher time frame is literally this same thing, right? This same thing, however, in a larger scale, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, bang. And then you like really find support, okay, where we have that previous year high, point of control, and this is the moment that we look for that massive big bounce, which is going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. We just need to remain patient and wait for the bearish case. I mean, you can short the lower highs, guys. You can short the bounces and you might get that movement down, and happy days, right? Kind of chasing a little bit the trend with the bounces. I mean, it's in your favor. The downtrend is in your favor without a doubt. Follow the trend. Follow the trend. The local trend is down. So the little bounces become an option. We're getting a little bit of a dip now as we speak. Getting a little bit of a dippy. When we do take a look at the, what we need to see for the longs, right? What we need to see for the longs, if we do maintain above 112K and, by a miracle, we do bounce in this zone, we might double bottom. It's an option. A local double bottom here is an option. What do we need to see? What are the levels that need to be hit, guys, to invalidate the bearish case scenario? I mean, what we do have, basically, if we are going to, discuss that this is going to be bullish, you should really bottom out somewhere in this area urgently, right? But trying to catch a higher low here or getting into longs is very, very dangerous. Understanding the bearish case that I explained at the beginning of the stream, right? Which is forming multiple 1-2s and then just breaking down, guys. Like you take the tank, which is without a doubt a very possible option that could happen throughout the next few days, right? So this is why longing at this moment is not the best option. If we were to get the bounce, give or take, we find support, we do not take out the low, and we bounce, I'll be saying, okay, I missed the long, I missed the low. It doesn't matter. I've missed the low. I know the danger that there is right now trying to get into a long based on the breakdown. So what levels need to be hit? Well, it's the last major lower high after the big movement to the downside, right? So we've got a big move here. We've got the correction. We've got the big move down, correction, and then another big movement down here, right? Regardless if you take out the low or not, it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this becomes your latest move to the downside, right? You want to claim the last lower high to basically invalidate the downtrend, right? You're shifting the trend to the upside. So it would have to be crucial for the price to get to $117,000 to invalidate the multiple 1-2 setup here, right? If you get that movement up and hit this zone, this becomes the end of a wave. And what you would be looking at eventually is for the price action to form some kind of a correction, right? And then look for the next wave to the upside. So, but this is crucial. This would be the invalidation zone for the bearish case scenario, hitting the last lower high of the impulsive moves to the downside. And we got this new one lately from the last 24 hours, which started yesterday at 117K. So we need that confirmation, right? This would be eventually the change of trend, right? The change of trend would be taking out the last lower high, okay? Invalidating the bearish case. This would be the invalidation for the bearish case. So price is dropping right now. Okay, we did get a little bounce today and it's dropping down aggressively to try to revisit the lows. Just rolling down. We do have some news today, guys. We do have some news. What's the S&P doing? The S&P is little movement down, then up. We got, new stock market open, which is probably creating that dump as it's open. Today, we do have the FONC minutes at 10 p.m. UAE time. This is in about 4 hours from now, just over 4 hours from now. Stay cautious with the possible volatility. It might be a big fat nothing burger, guys. Okay, maybe it's priced in. But we do have FONC minutes and volatility could increase here. And I think people, let me know what do you think in the comment section, guys. Funk minutes tonight, bearish. It's just going to give you that extra power for the price to dip down, to actually break down, form that big wave to the downside, which I'll be okay with, guys. I'm in no longs and I'm in no shorts. I'm just enjoying what the price is doing, and the opportunities will come to me, right? The opportunities, I know the levels, I know how the price could develop, and I would just wait for the highest probability scenario on my side, which I want to share with my community eventually, right? If I don't get that, I won't share anything, basically. So let's go right away. 𝗬𝗍𝘆 is a machine. He's always looking for internal scalping scenarios, okay? I'm a little bit out of the scalping world, okay? I'm just looking for bigger movements. Need to get going with the scalping, okay? But I'm really interested in bigger swings, right? Because, you know, this big swing trade really made me, you know, significant gains. I can pay a year's worth of lifestyle, or even more than that, based on a few weeks of trading, right? A swing trade. And I want to get into another big trade like that. So I'm just remaining patient. Don't want to give any money back to the market and be in the wrong side. You know, we are downtrending. Bears are under control at the moment after the double top, guys. They are completely, okay, in control of the downtrend for the moment till proven otherwise. And a good clear sign, if we do not take out 112k, which is a little bit of wishful thinking at the moment, we need to take out the last lower high of the impulsive moves to the downside, okay, which is currently sitting at the lower high of yesterday, which, funny enough, it is the previous month close, okay? Previous week and previous month levels, guys. This is, without a doubt, a very, very good thing, regardless Elliott wave theory or point of controls or order flow or whatever. These are very, very solid levels. Previous week open, right? You just need to go to the weekly chart or the monthly chart. Just go to the weekly or the monthly, and you can see here, right? You have the previous month close from July sitting here at roundabout, depending on what exchange, 115,700. We can see how yesterday we broke down the previous month close, and it acted as resistance to perfection. We basically got a fake out above the previous month close, and we got the rejection from it. The previous week low, you know, acted as resistance on you know, Monday, Tuesday. So yeah, this is a previous week low, which was this pivot right over there. It's just a support resistance flip, right? Previous week low, resistance. Previous month close, resistance after breaking down. We actually got resistance from previous month close here. Broke it. Previous week low, resistance. Previous month close, support. Broke it, resistance, right? It's just very, very good levels to have on the chart, and you can see how it is respected very, very nicely throughout the downtrend that we've had in the last few days. Okay, it's been, you can see how it's been respecting very, very nicely. So yeah, anyway, let's go right away through the comment section, guys. I need to give a shout out to 𝗬𝗍𝘆, okay, sponsor of the channel. If you are interested, you do have 20% cash back, okay, up to $1,000, and you can earn Solana. If you are a Solana fan, as you trade, you can earn Solana, guys, with 𝗬𝗍𝘆 if you do sign up with a link down below in the description, okay? It is the 5th link down below, as you can see. 𝗬𝗍𝘆, sign up for $1,000 cash back and earn Solana while you're trading, okay? While you're trading, you do get airdrops on Solana, which is very interesting indeed, okay? Let's go right away through the comment section. We can talk about Ethereum altcoins. I do have a little bit of news as well. Liquidity, lots of liquidity, guys. This was pretty crazy how we were building this amount of liquidity. Lots of longs getting flushed out here. My longs got stopped out at break even with the drop. I already took the profits anyway, most of them. It would have been nice to have a little bit more profits, but overall took most of the profits at all-time high, as explained on the videos the last few days. And Missed the short, missed the big short down. Let's go right away. Get your votes in here, guys. Get your votes in. Next move for Bitcoin for August and September. 20%. Top is in bear market, guys. I mean, 20% is quite a lot, right? Out of 500 people, 20%, over 100 people are bearish from on the poll. They're like, bear market, that's it. Most of the time, okay, the most votes is not the one that plays out. So break down below 112k, but we hold, remained the highest vote here. 112k is not hit, is second place. So yeah, let's see. I mean, it's still a possibility, but I wouldn't count on it. I would not count here to get into any type of swing long. You can scalp these little bounces if you know your strategy and you know what you're doing on the lower time frame, but for any swing longs in this zone, yeah, it's just not an option for me at the moment. There's a very easy way to get into a long in the next coming days. We either break down, okay, cool, then we get the choppiness. That choppiness is going to provide me the long position. I am expecting a big bounce here after the choppiness and finding support at the 108, 106k zone, right? We got previous year high, previous month open, golden pocket from the last swing higher low to the all-time high, point of control, big order block on the weekly or the monthly if you wish, right? From that consolidation of June and July. There's just a lot here, right? So if you get that big movement down, this zone is going to get the choppiness and that range formation. And this range formation at some point is going to get the relief rally. And your best option here, if you want to really catch the low, is your double triple bottoms from that range that is formed after a breakdown. Because this will happen. It will happen. You're not going to fall down to $70,000. Okay, you are going to find support and you're going to form a little range and get a bounce. So you want to be identifying that range once the breakdown happens, regardless if it's 108, 107, 106, 105. This is the zone where we have the huge amount of support, which is going to happen at some point eventually, right? And it might take a couple of days to flip-flop, right? And then get the relief rally or an impulse, right? If it is going to be an ABC flat, then let's go, guys, right? Let's go. We flushed the market. We got people bearish. Time to get in, right? Time to get in. So yeah, let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community and see what's going on. It all depends on Paul, his tone. Can you look at PopCat? Shall we take a look? Chainlink is doing great. I got a few DMs on the Telegram asking about my portfolio. I'm not going to give any names, but asking about my altcoin portfolio. And I remain with the same strategy here, okay, on Chainlink. I'm not selling any of my spot Chainlink till we hit above $30, guys. I mean, Chainlink is holding like a beast. We didn't get any pullback on Chainlink. What's going on? What's all the bearishness, man? We are still very much intact in this multiple 1-2 setup. And I believe that this is really going to hold on and pop off here. Plus $30 in the next coming weeks for Chainlink. If we feel the bearishness of the drop on Bitcoin, which is pretty intense, you can actually see it here on the analytics, where people are flipping very, very bearish at the moment with this drop on Bitcoin, the double top that we formed. And yeah, Chainlink is holding like a beast, which I'm very, very happy about. Most of my Chainlink were accumulated at the $6-7 range here throughout 2022 and 2023. So I'm very, very happy with the profits that I do have on Chainlink on my spot bag. Very, very happy, guys. It's just over a 3-4x approximately, right? On average, which is good. I know a lot of people are actually, in a loss on or just holding or slow profits, or depending if you only have Bitcoin or only have XRP. XRP Army is very happy. because XRP is literally at all-time high. Whoever bought XRP throughout the last few years is in a profit. So Chainlink, somebody asking about Chainlink, you know, my overall question on Chainlink is, how are we going to break out from $30? I know that the highest probability in Chainlink is hitting $30. We've been talking about this for weeks already, since we created this zone over here, which was an option to get in again, right? Either low leverage swing longs or buy on spot. I keep it simple. I buy thousands of Chainlink in this zone and I just forget about it, right? It's there. I realize how bullish it is and I just wait. My overall question on Chainlink, somebody asking for Chainlink here in the comment section, is, you know, the highest probability is that this is a double 1-2, okay? And that we should be smashing out through $30 and heading up to all-time high. That leans the highest probability for the moment. Could it form an expanding move to the upside in a 5-wave structure and you kind of double top from here? I mean, this is the fear that I have. I do not know if we are going to double top from here. I know we're very likely going to hit above $30 and, you know, hit 32, 35. I want to get out with 20% at least of what I invested here, get my money back with some profits, and then, you know, leave a moon bag depending on how the price moves down. Okay. But overall, $30 is extremely likely on Chainlink. When we do take a look at the movements up from the last few months, they are very, very bullish. Very, very bullish. 1-2, 1-2. We moved up here very aggressively on Chainlink. I mean, I wouldn't mind a healthy pullback. It's about time, right? This movement up has been very impulsive. Yeah, we haven't had a proper healthy pullback here. I wouldn't mind a pullback. You get a 5-wave move to the upside, pullback. 5-wave move to the upside, pullback. You know, we've moved up pretty aggressively. It will just add another 1-2 before we get the explosive parabolic move here on Chainlink, right? Which it does happen, guys. It does happen. They do happen, right? This is a very, very strong parabolic move that happened throughout November and December. I think it's going to happen throughout the next coming months. My overall question, I'm getting out, guys, of Chainlink. I've had enough. I've got so much money invested in Chainlink that yeah, I want to get out, guys. I want to start getting out. Shit could hit the fan. Nobody knows what's going to happen at the end of the day. The projection is hitting $30. Imagine dumping down from here. Again, right? Another cycle to wait for. Like I said, but based on the charts, the high probability of hitting $30 plus is there. And actually, for the moment, the highest probability is breaking up above $30 and attempting to hit all-time high based on the chart, because a multiple 1-2 setup has the highest probability till proven otherwise. Of course, proven otherwise would be the expanding diagonal, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you reject down and you eventually have a bear market 2026, you know, and then you bottom out and then obviously you rally at some point in the net, you know, 2027, 2028 again, right? You start forming a bull run, but you would obviously have, you know, just a larger range still to happen. I want to start getting out above $30. I don't know how it's going to break. So I'll get 20% out. If it ends up being a massive third wave and we just really grind here, right? Boom, boom, bang, bang. You know, it's starting to get parabolic. Once we hit all-time high, I'm going to be out with more than 50, 60%. You know, I'll be selling more than 50% of my Chainlink if it ends up with an explosive move out. And that's what we've been waiting for years. So it's going to happen, guys, at some point. The question is when, not if. So let's stay on the safe side here and start getting out with some profits above $30. I mean, that's already going to be a 5x for me. So yeah, bring it on. And a 5x of $1,000 is not that much, but when you have, you know, quite a lot of money in, a 5x can be very, very good. So yeah, ICP is not doing that well. I have to say, I'm down with ICP about 15% or so on average. You know, I think ICP does have the potential of testing the low. We've been talking about this throughout the stream, guys. It's an accumulation zone. We might get the gift, okay? See it as a gift of dipping down below $4. We might get the gift of forming a spring point here. I would definitely buy a few thousand more ICP if we get below $4, guys. If, or, you know, basically at the lows, I will definitely buy some more here, because I understand the charts. I understand that we are likely going to take out $20 at some point in the near future. You know, I'm not going to give any timing here, right? Because it's pretty random to say it's going to happen in September or it's going to happen in November. It doesn't matter, guys. You know, it's likely going to happen at some point. I'm not here to say the exact date. You know, based on the chart, we have high probability that, you know, you're going to bottom out and you're going to start seeing some rallies here on this one. So we might get the gift of ICP coming down to sweep up the lows of this range. And I'll explain why. The problem here on ICP is that this movement looks very, very corrective, right? And this is very similar to what happened to Chainlink. Well, we're getting a nice little dip here on the S&P 500. Nice little dip. Bitcoin's probably losing it here. Bitcoin's probably going to lose it with this S&P drop. Anyway, let's go right away with Chainlink on that consolidation, just so I can explain a little bit what happened to Chainlink to compare it with ICP on the chart, okay? Because chart analysis, right, is compared, right, from what's happened in the past, right? It doesn't always need to happen, but that's how we kind of predict what could happen, right, based on what's happened in the past. The problem that we had here with Chainlink is that from the lows created, we didn't have any strong impulsive move to the upside. It was very rangy, very corrective. And eventually, when you start forming a range, right, after testing the lows, after a major drop, you're probably going to test the low again, right? The rallies are not looking too powerful. You're forming lots of overlap. You're not breaking up in a 5-wave structure and correcting. It's just very rangy, very overlappy, which means that you have very likely the probability in revisiting the low at some point to create that spring point. It's a spring point, right? You form a range and you form the last wave to then rally. And it's very, very common in a accumulation, because when you combine Wyckoff accumulation with Elliott wave theory, it just means that the bounces that you're getting in a range are they're not impulsive. They're just overlapping and very corrective. You need that low to be taken at some point to then start the fresh impulse, right? You create a spring point. And we talked about this on Chainlink. When are we getting the spring point in this range? I need to find that video, because we were literally mapping the spring point of a Wyckoff accumulation. We were waiting for a spring point. I was buying anyway, regardless, but I was very much aware of the spring point. This is an event that is likely going to happen to ICP if we do test the lows. This is why, if you want to really catch the low, this might be the opportunity. If we do get the lows being tested, you form a large consolidation, multi-monthly. In the case of Chainlink, it was almost over a year. And you see after this range how you were not testing the lows from the drop of May of 2022 till June of 2023. Look how you have this spring point after months of consolidation. Boop, test the low. Then we form the impulsive move and the first correction to then break out in the wave 3. It's just, I mean, this was so anticipated. I was buying here like a madman, guys. You know, this was the perfect zone to buy Chainlink. Any legit follower, I had someone DMing me. Okay, it's okay. I can give the numbers. If I'm not going to say the name, that has 14,000 Chainlink. It might be on the stream here. He says, bro, I have 14,000 Chainlink, right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty big numbers. 14,000 Chainlink. And this, you know, based on spot, guys, what we're talking right now is mainly on spot, right? Based on an accumulation. When we talk about ICP, we have kind of the same situation, the same problem when you created this low. The bouncers, it's, you know, we could not find a proper impulsive move up here, which is, it's a problem. There's a big problem here. There's no big major rally with a nice solid correction and continuation up. It's very rangy, very overlappy. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not possible. It would have to be an expanding diagonal. Your fifth wave is the smallest wave, so it's not possible. Fifth wave needs to be the largest in an expanding diagonal. Lots of overlap, very rangy. It's not looking that great. It gives you the possibility of creating that spring point. Dipping one more time, reclaiming the level. This is the moment of excitement. This is the moment of excitement. Getting acceptance back above in this range will be the moment of excitement here on ICP. So there is a high possibility that we do revisit the lows at $4.20 here on ICP. Just because there's no solid impulsive move. But this is very, very classic for a spring point. It's the last accumulation for the whales, right? And the whales do create that automatic rally because limit longs and limit buys are going to be piled up here at the lows. And it just creates that classic spring point, just like what happened here for Chainlink. I mean, it's a theory. It's all based on the probability of a massive range. And when you do zoom out on ICP and you understand the market structure after the first big major rally that we had at the end of 2023 into 2024, it's only one wave up, very impulsive wave. And this is very corrective. And in Elliott wave theory, in all of the markets, you either move like this or you move like this. For the moment, we've only moved like this on ICP, up and down. So that gives you the idea that that rally to hit $20 is likely going to happen at some point. So yeah, I mean, it's a matter of being patient, guys, right? And the possibility of hitting $4.20 is there. You take it with a grain of salt, guys. I mean, this is only my opinion. That's only my overview here. And just letting you understand that there is a chance of creating that spring. Okay, we could dip down below $4.20, which I would just be ready to scoop up some more, realizing that this could be on the verge of getting a bounce. Anyway, Bitcoin just really dropping down. We are on the verge, guys. On the verge here of testing 112K. I'm ready for the breakdown if it happens. And then we'll analyze in the next coming days, where are we getting supported and where are we forming the range, okay? What we need to see here for Bitcoin to be bullish. If you're getting into the shorts, congratulations, right? You want to get into the shorts at resistance levels, lower highs. The bears are in control, guys. The bears are in control, so it's kind of better to get into shorts on the bounces because we are downtrending, right? At the end of the day. Beautiful previous month close retest yesterday. I mean, it was insane. You know, I noticed this later on eventually, but got a beautiful back test from the previous month close. Anyway, let's go right away. I just want to let you know I'm no longer in any trading position, guys. Okay, no longer in any big trading position. I got stopped out from the rest of the position here on bluffing from the swing long, also on BTCC and throughout the other exchanges where I had, you know, the rest of the swing long positions. So just waiting patiently for a high probability setup, guys. So anyway, I was very happy with the trade of the last few weeks, heading to all-time high, and missed the short trade, right? It pisses me off because it's a strategy that we do know very well, and based on the market structure, you know, I don't remember what stream we talked about it, but I think it must have been on the 12th of August where we were talking about this is too fast to be a successful pullback to get a successful breakout. Sorry, so this is too fast of a pullback to break out successfully from all-time high, and if we do hit all-time high, I do expect a rejection. Of course, you know, this was 1 a.m. in the morning, my time approximately. Okay, depending on where you are, and the Chinese must have gotten into this short because it was early morning for them. So they, you know, Chinese are short for sure on Bitcoin. I can tell you that. Legends, if you are interested in trading, make sure to check out Bluffin, okay? They do have an insane bonus at the moment, which is VIP levels, okay? This is more for people that have a little bit more capital. Depending on what you deposit, you'll be getting massive fee decrease, okay? You got 10% cash back also, guys, okay? You deposit $1,000, you're getting $100 on top of that. If you deposit $30,000, you have $3,000 on top of that for trading, guys. Instant deposit, 10% cash back, guys, you do get with Bluffin, okay? You have the link down below in the description. It's the second link, okay, for Bluffin. It's an awesome platform. They have lots of liquidity, okay? Let's take a look right away. Hey, hang on a minute. What's all of this? What's all of this spamming? I thought. Yeah, hang on a minute. No spamming here, eh? What's all of this spamming? I forgot to put the 5 second. There we go. Hopefully you can't spam anymore. Hey, I'll go through the comment section right away, okay? Calm down. Calm down. All this spamming. Mama. Ace now $2. Ace now $2. Okay. What's Ace? What's Ace? I forgot to put the 5 second here on the comment section, guys. You know, nobody likes that. Ace. What's this? What's this? Is it this? Oh, there's so many aces here. Screw that. What is that? We don't know what it is. Never mind. A zero, fastest, cheapest, IOTA. Oh my goodness, we got some shilling situation here. I forgot to put the time limit. Afternoon, Andy. Maybe you could check BTC dominance. Thanks. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance. I do have it on the chart here somewhere. We were very skeptical on Ethereum throughout the last week. Okay, we were very much aware of Ethereum not managing maybe to hit all-time high just yet. Okay, I do think that Ethereum will smash all-time high at some point, but the combination of Ethereum BTC chart and the Bitcoin dominance, you know, has been crucial, has been absolutely crucial. And the Bitcoin dominance, you know, looking for a bounce at some point in the Bitcoin dominance, guys. You know, the bounce on the Bitcoin dominance is you know, very, very likely to happen. And altcoins are already taking a bit of a hit, except for Chainlink and a few ones. Chainlink is doing pretty good, but some altcoins are already feeling the dip of Bitcoin, right? And oh, holy moly, you know, the Bitcoin dominance is on the verge of getting a relief rally of 2-3% potentially. Just because, I mean, we explained this throughout the last few days, right? You got that first initial movement to the downside. You get your big move down, right? The big drop happened already on the Bitcoin dominance throughout July. We got some altcoins rallying pretty nicely. You get a zigzag, right? Very large throughout, end of July, beginning of August. Classic wave 4. And then you get your fifth wave, which most commonly unsuccessfully breaks down aggressively from the third wave. This is just classic, right? You might revisit the low again. Yeah, that's okay. But a relief rally here is very likely to happen. And we might get a little bit of a shaky out September, which kind of comes into what happened in the past, right? September being, not the greatest month. So that relief rally could happen, giving us one more opportunity, right? To scoop up before a big major altcoin season, right? Finally. I mean, yeah, I do think that the Bitcoin dominance will eventually collapse, but a bounce is poised here, guys. It's a bounce is very likely going to happen, purely based on analyzing this drop. It's not rocket science. It's just we've had a very aggressive move down. When you count the big wave, it's happened, and then the fifth wave eventually, unsuccessfully has a big move down. It's kind of common sense, right? Instead of trying to predict something, it's just a relief rally here, and eventually some altcoins could get another dip, right? Buy the dip and it keeps dipping, they say. The last dip before the next dip, right? This is the last dip before the next dip. Your 100k subscribers plate should be in the post, Andy. Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen soon. I'm not sure how many. I'm not sure how much. The more time happens, the harder it gets, guys. The more close that I get to 100k subscribers, it's the harder it gets, which is interesting. A lot of competition out there. I think people have had it with crypto and technical analysts out there, and they just don't believe anything. And we really try and cover a lot of Elliott wave theory that gives you, a general idea on projections. Okay, we obviously have levels, but just to give you the general point of view. And a lot of people really struggle to follow up. What's up, Andy? Anup, my man, much love to you. Glad to be here. Let's go. Smashing up the like button like an absolute legend. Let's go through the comment section. The scenarios on Bitcoin have been talked about, okay? It's a little bit of a miracle here to hold before hitting this low. It could bounce. We actually formed a little double bottom here. It's a possible. It always gives you a scalping opportunity, double bottom, okay? It might be the one, guys, okay? But just be aware that you want to be defensive. You don't want to go too crazy. You formed a double bottom here, right? Swing failure pattern, back tested it. 3-wave move up, back testing previous month close, drop down. So yeah, we double bottomed here currently. It could rally successfully quite a bit, but it could, be defensive. Double bottom is always a possible option. We could count this as, what if this is a 5-wave move down, right? What if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the larger scale, you can still fit in that WXY, guys. As funny as it might think, you always need to have the bearish case, which is the first scenario that we talked about on the stream. We just need to give priority to the bears as we are downtrending. But you can still fit in as long as you remain above the lows of 112k. We need to still give the bulls a chance, right? And entering a double bottom here is always an option. Just be defensive with your stop loss, protect as you get the bounce. It's always an option down here, and you could still fit in that WXY, right? Which would be not this one, not this one. Where do I have it? This one right over here, right? You could still fit it in. It still can be fitted in. Still very much possible. Double bottom is an option. It was an option anyway. It happened throughout the last few minutes. Movement down. Bit of a three waver here. A bit of a three waver here. And, you know, the only way that you can fit in here a three waver is this impulsive move down. This has the correction. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? As an A, B, C. For your wave Y, a very aggressive double zigzag. Yeah, it's worth catching the double bottoms, guys. It's just worth it here at this point. You can be very defensive, stop loss above your entry, you know, $20-$30 just to cover fees, just in case it gets stopped out. You know, it is bouncing from the lows at 112.5k. So, you know, it's up $500 already. You know, it's just, they're always an option to get in. Just protect position just in case the bears, you know, take over the downtrend and continue to the downside, right? It's just always worth a double bottom here. You can be very, very defensive. Do you think we may go down to 110k or lower? Yeah, I do. You know, because the bears are in control at the moment, we cannot deny that. You need to give you need to give priority to the local downtrend, right? You need to give it priority. It is what it is. We are downtrending from the double top. Could it be an option here that we do bounce? The bullish case, you know, surprisingly enough, is still possible to maintain above this low. You got a zigzag down, X, and a zigzag down here. This is why local double bottoms after a big move for a wave 5 is a good speculation long. It is a good speculation long, right? When you do, it's all about getting into the entry and managing risk, right? When you do have, you know, after a bounce, when you get a big movement down, sorry, a small movement to the downside, a little bounce, and then you get the big move down. After a big move down, it is worth looking for double bottoms here to get into a rally. Double bottom right there, little rally. Just be defensive with your stop loss. Once you get the bounce, be protective. What happened here is from this lower high, you got a small move down, correction, big move down. And this is the moment where if you chop around, a double bottom is very much a good opportunity. You come back down to test the low, double bottom is a good opportunity. Because that's what usually happens after a big movement to the downside. When you get a big move down, you get the bounce and you chop the low. You get a little bounce and you chop the low, right? Double bottom. You might bounce a little bit more and then chop the low again, and then form the massive double bottom. And we could go all day long throughout this range and explain that scenario. Big move down, choppiness, double bottom, triple bottom scenario, big bounce. Well, big bounce. I mean, it is. After a big move, you usually chop, bounce, right? After a big move, you usually chop, and local double triple bottoms on the lower time frame are very, very common before a relief rally. And, you know, out of this movement to the downside, the big move happened here. I mean, you really need to count the waves here as well, okay? Because you would have to come with an ABC here, correction X. This does count as a 5 waver, correction. This was the biggest move down yesterday, 4-5. This is the moment that this becomes a good double bottom area after the largest move from the downtrend, right? So you can see from this lower high, you'll have a little movement down, bounce, big move. chopping zone for the bounce. Little move down, bounce. Big move down. You know, this area becomes a double bottom zone after a big move. Regardless if the bounce is big or if it's small, it's a good zone to speculate on a double bottom. Triple bottom. We love bottoms, guys. I love bottoms. The more bottoms we have, the better, right? Have a good time with a lot of bottoms. Let's go right away through the comment section. It is bouncing. It is forming a pretty nice double bottom. Wow, we got, yeah, major pump. Major pump. Double bottom is always an option after a big move down. Very, very nice. I like it. Pretty good. Let's see how this movement does develop. Let's go right as yes, Lars. Ethereum and XRP, bro. At Ethereum, I'm more of a bottom guy than a top guy. But I love both, says 𝗬cie𝗂𝗿. Much love to you, brother. Yeah, we are in the same side here. We prefer bottoms than tops. 110 to 112k, says Loza. Yeah, you know the thing is, I think a lot of people are expecting those higher lows to be swept, right? A lot of people, you know, it would be rare that if you form a higher low here and get an awesome rally, right? You start really rallying here very aggressively throughout the next coming days, right? And recover. But it happens before you front run a higher low. And obviously this would be still bullish market structure, but it is rare, okay? It is rare to miss a low. But they do happen sometimes. They do happen. You know, I'm trying to find one right now. I mean, yeah, this would be a perfect example, right? This would be a kind of perfect example where you get so close to hit the low, right? You get so close to hit the low right there, and you just miss it. You hit the 0.88. I mean, you are uptrending. You almost take out the low here. This was back in April. Also May. Look how you missed by a few dollars that low over here. And I'm sure a lot of people were betting the farm that this low was going to be taken. Or with this movement down that the low was going to be taken, right? And you're breaking trend. You are breaking the trend here, right? We're breaking the uptrend here, legends. Uptrend has been broken. Though this low is going to be taken. And then screw you, right? Screw you. This ain't going down. So, I mean, it is definitely possible, right? As we can see here. That a recovery without taking 112k, which is the second favorite. Okay. The second favorite from the poll. Very interesting, guys. Make sure to get your votes in if you haven't already. 112k is not hit. We bounce soon. 35% bear market, 21%. That's growing, guys. People are getting bearish. Let's continue here through the comment section, see what the legends are saying. We do love bottom, says 𝗬cie𝗂𝗿𝗃. Let's go. 𝗬cie𝗂𝗃𝗃. Nice name. Can you see Ethereum, please? Let's take a look at Ethereum. What's going on with Ethereum? The beloved Ethereum. Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a possible back test here today from, you know, we formed a failed auction. A failed auction means that you are breaking down from a major swing high or a swing low, higher low or higher high, it doesn't matter. And you basically fail to continue the breakdown. Okay, so we had some 4-hourly candle closes here beneath these higher lows, and the price managed to recover back above today. This, you know, a lot of the times becomes a failed auction. A swing failure pattern is mainly a wick. Okay, so it would have been a wick on the 4-hourly and a big recovery. Swing failure patterns are usually kind of a liquidity grab, and you create a wick. A failed auction is when you close higher time frame candlesticks, 4 hourly, 1 hourly, daily, beneath a major swing higher low or swing high. It doesn't really matter, right? You actually close above a high, but then you start closing candles below, which can bring you that massive reversal, right? It's a failed breakout. After looking at this major consolidation that we did have the first week of August, we actually broke down. I mean, it's such a common level, guys, to get a bounce. Get a bit of wiki down below, or even candle closes, and then you ultimately get some kind of a relief after sweeping such an epic order block on the higher time frame, right? So Ethereum, I see this movement to the downside. There's several options here on Ethereum. I mean, it's looking awful for an impulsive move down. It's horrible. This movement down is horrible. It's super overlappy, and it's super, for me, it's very kind of corrective. There's two options here. I mean, if you are going to be looking at this as your wave one, okay, let's go out of speculation. Wave one right there. You form a running flat, even though this looks very three wavy. It's not the best count. Then your third wave, fourth, and your fifth wave here. I mean, yeah, I mean, it would be possible to form a five wave move down here. Not the best looking one. Or even a contracting diagonal, which would be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, contracting diagonal here would be fitted as 1, 2, 3. This have to be the low. You would have to fit it like this, where you have zigzag down 1, zigzag 2, up 2, zigzag down 3, consolidation, zigzag here in your wave 4. That's what you want to see in a contracting diagonal. Wave 4 being smaller than your wave 2, and then your wave 5 here not being longer than your wave 3, which is definitely the case. So if this is not a double zigzag to the downside, I would have to lean that it is a contracting diagonal. Let me just double check here on the extension of your wave 3. Yeah, you missed out at the 1-to-1. So yeah, I mean, this would be the proper count. If not a double zigzag, where you have a zigzag down, corrective structure, and a zigzag down, right? A double zigzag, where this is your wave X. It doesn't matter, both can be fitted, but you are looking for a relief rally, and this relief rally is very common to get when you sweep up the lows of an order block, which is kind of you get the relief rally, and then you back test it, and then you get the punch back up here. It's a very, very common price action that you do get here. So I think a larger relief for Ethereum, depending on what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin needs to behave, and Bitcoin's not a crucial level, but a larger relief rally here for Ethereum to at least get to the 382 from the highs of last week to the lows would make sense, okay, here to 4,300, 4,400, at least in this zone. Very, very likely to get that relief here on Ethereum. Yeah, looks pretty okay. That's what I'm looking at here on Ethereum. The question is, I have a problem with Ethereum on the higher time frame. And I mean, we were very skeptical based on the Ethereum BTC chart, based on the Bitcoin dominance. Ethereum BTC, we're hitting a major level. We've got a massive monthly order block, a monthly level, a naked point of control from this consolidation. This is Ethereum against BTC, which a lot of people were hyped up with the rally And we were really detecting that, we are hitting some resistance and we're likely going to see this rally come to an end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, get the correction here, or form one more high and correct later on. But we were hitting the resistance, and that's where we got the pullback in the last few days, basically at the monthly level and the naked point of control of this consolidation. So, we were hitting a lot of resistance after a gigantic rally, and a gigantic rally, nothing goes up forever, right? So once you start hitting some resistance, you're likely going to get a pullback. And we were very much aware of this last week for maybe Ethereum doesn't hit all-time high just as of yet, right? When we were trading here with this massive rally. And what is interesting about that is when we zoom in on the latest move from August, I mean, it's like textbook, guys. Look at this on the 4-hourly after this ABC flat. Rally, correction, rally, correction, consolidation, rally. Right? You can see where the price stops. Here it stops. Rally, 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 stops. Big rally. When you do see this, you need to be aware that, yeah, you could hit all-time high, but you're likely going to start pulling back at some stage, right? You're just literally looking at a 5-wave move to the upside, keeping it very simple and easy, right? It's a 5-wave move to the upside since the lows of August. It's a 5-wave move up, being your third wave the biggest wave. It's just it's textbook, guys. Textbook right over here. So eventually you're looking for that pullback. So, I mean, my main question right now, Ethereum is very bullish, and there's no doubt in my mind that we will smash all-time high at some point in the coming weeks. So the overall question here is this the rally? This is the correction of your wave 2. That is pretty clear. What is not that clear right now is, has this been your wave 3, your 4, and your 5? Or potentially, this is still your third wave. This 5-wave move up is your wave 3. And what you're forming here is your wave 4 to then hit all-time high in your wave 5, right? For the moment, I like the movement down. It's good, it's sexy, it looks more corrective. It could be a WXY, it could be a wedgie structure. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned about the bounce. The bounce could be massive and we hit all-time high. We could form a lower high, claim the lows one more time. This would be the best option. This would be the best option based on, Elliott wave theory to get into a massive long position, because you will confirm a 3-wave correction here. If you get a bounce and you claim the lows again, that is the moment that we are looking to get in, swing long here. And you're looking, this would be $1,000 move, high probability. That would be the exciting moment here for Ethereum, for me to get into a big position, right? I mean, big position if we do get this. So, that's the overall question right now on Ethereum, right? Has this movement up been your wave 3? This has been your 4, okay? And this is your 5th wave, and the correction is going to be larger than we think throughout September, right? Which could actually dip down to 50%, even golden pocket. And I mean, lots of people are going to say, "Oh my goodness, this is over, guys. Forget about bull run." But we will be trying to detect if it is corrective or not. Right? You are going to get some kind of a rangy correction at some point. And if this is still your wave 3, which is definitely a possibility, all of this might have just been your wave 3. 1, 2, 3. This is 4 and 5. And you're still forming your 4th wave on the higher time frame. So depending on how we, move up here, if we form a lower high and we claim the lows, and this movement down unsuccessfully continues to the downside, and we form this kind of range formation, it's going to be, guys, let's go. It's time to long. Ethereum very aggressively because, you know, we are going to take out the highs, regardless if it's going to be on the first pullback from this zone or the second one, or, you know, we'll be trying to detect that structure and obviously labeling this as your wave 3 in the end, your wave 4, and then hopefully we get an extension 5th wave to smash through all-time high and go to 6-7K. I mean, yeah, the market is still bullish. People are freaking out with this correction. My goodness. Lots of people are freaking out with this move down from Bitcoin and calling for bear markets. We are, you know, when you take a look at Ethereum, it's only been a pullback. I mean, come on, guys. We've had so many big rallies. We needed to get a cool off. And a rally now on Ethereum is very, very likely, you know, at least to 4.3, 4.4, based on what I explained. You know, you got this massive order block, sweep over the lows, failed auction, move up, back test it, get a little rally. It's just, I'll give you a little hint. This is something that I discussed in the Legends Pro, okay? In the Legends Pro, I did a little screenshot on Ethereum failed auction. It's very common after a failed auction from a massive swing higher low to get a pullback down, back test the level and get the rally. Let's zoom in here on the lower time frame, see if that's happened. You know, you could arguably discuss it as, I don't know, you tell me. Oh, it did dip a little bit lower than expected. Failed auction on Ethereum from the largest consolidation swing higher low of August. Looking for a possible back test on this movement down and bounce in a 3-wave structure to the upside. Structure up. Interested in longing at 4,170, 4,120. Zone to 4,350 plus. It is a setup, right? It is a setup. It is, you know, a strategy. You basically fail to break down successfully from a major swing low, and you recover back above it, and a back test is very, very common. Is literally this. So it's just one possibility to get into a trade, right? If you are interested in the Legends Pro, you do have here all sorts, okay? You have crypto chat. You have, you know, lots of people discussing different scenarios here. Myself, Dylan, rest of the coaches, Devault also providing intraday setups, okay? You got research, what's happening globally with the news. You have all sorts here in the Legends Pro community. Daily updates on different scenarios that could happen. Bitcoin, Ethereum, some altcoins, news. Make sure to join, guys. You do have the first link down below. If you want to take your experience and be in a community with like-minded people discussing scenarios, sharing charts. Coaches also providing the different setups and the possibilities with explanations. Make sure to send me a DM, guys, once you join the Telegram down below. Legends, thank you very much for joining. Much love to everybody. Andy, this is the head. Now we are going to do the shoulder. Is that on Ethereum? Maybe. This is the head and this is the shoulder. Maybe. I'm not sure if you're pointing this out. Is that what you're pointing out here? Prepare for the best altcoin season like 2021. Bitcoin dominance is going down. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance very likely to collapse, but I am looking for a relief rally at some point. I am looking for a relief rally on the higher time frame at some point. I mean, with the option of testing the lows here again. Much love to everybody. Remember that you do have those exclusive bonuses throughout multiple exchanges, okay? Bluffing, you do get 10% cash back, okay? Weeks, you got $1,000 airdrop on Ethereum position for free by signing up and downloading the app. Free money right there. 10% cash back on bluffing, okay? Up to $3,000. VIP 1, VIP 2. great options here you do have, guys. They only require an email and a password. And also Femex, guys, where you get 20% cash back, but only up to $1,000. And you can earn Solana, guys. You got all of those exchanges down below. You can choose whatever you want. Thank you very much for joining. And I will see you in the next one.